All right, are we ready? Is everybody ready? Welcome, episode number 6. Episode 6. Still no rum pure gear, so it's episode 6, not season 1. Once I got some rum pure gear, I'll be rocking out episode 1, season 1 of Fox Den instead of episode 6 that we're on now. Welcome, Montgomery County, Virginia, live, the Fox Den. We're starting a little bit early, 6:46 Eastern. I wanted to get in. I have a play. I have actually a 3-team 10-point teaser that I'm going to give out tonight, and I wanted to do that quickly at the beginning of the show. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, of course. Great holiday. Love this holiday. Family's here. We're having a great time. It's a blast. Rocking out the Blacksburg Bruin football hat, local squad here in Montgomery County, Blacksburg Bruins. Real quick recap. Last week we went 1-1. Western Kentucky, Auburn went over. That was a win, and we lost with Minnesota -2.5. If you watched the Minnesota game, I don't really need to say much more about that. So 1-1, holding the fort. So nobody's making any money either way. We're going to try to change that with a quick play tonight to start the show. I'm going to give out 3 plays total today. We've got some pending, and we're going to basically what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the first one now, and then we're going to talk a little on the show, go over a few of the games. Exciting week in college football, right? This is sort of rubber meets the road, right? Teams are playing to get into conference championships. Teams are playing to get into bowls. Bowl eligibility's on the line. Just a lot of good stuff going on that makes the sport great. And it's, this is sort of your ultimate week, right? Because conference championships are next. And then you got an Army-Navy game. And then about a week later, 6 days later, I think, bowl season starts, December 16th, if I'm not mistaken. So real quick, let's get started with a free play today. We're going to give you our first of our 3 free plays. We're going to give you a 10-point teaser. 10-point teaser in the college ranks. I got Ohio teased to +3. We have San Jose State teased to -3, hosting Hawaii. And we have UTSA -6.5. That's on a 10-point tease. Ohio starts, I think, at 7, so it's 6:48. 8 people are watching. If you want to bet that, you can get it in. Ohio +3, San Jose State -3, and UTSA -6.5 on the 3-team 10-point tease. I figured I'd mix it up a little with the teasers. I know a lot of people like those, and I don't mind them. If I like a game, I obviously like it even more. Slung 10 points. So that's the first of 3 free plays. We got 2 more coming at the end of the show. Pending on the show for free plays that are hanging out there. Clemson, we took Clemson -6 against UNC in the ACC title game on the first look ahead. I can't remember if I did that on Tuesday or Thursday last week, but it was on a look ahead for the ACC championship line. That's currently at 7. Clemson's currently at 7. It may have even popped to 7.5 at one point, but we got a good number. Anybody that bought that Clemson -6, you got a good number in the ACC championship. And obviously I don't see it doing much from here. We have Michigan +8 at Ohio State this week. So I'm going to talk about that game in a little bit, but that game's currently at 7.5. But again, to the CLV crowd out there, I'll give you kind of a good example of, CLV. Anyways, and we have Michigan 8-1 on the Natty. So that's now 10-1, by the way. So that dipped to 7 last week, and something changed. Maybe we'll talk about injuries and we're going to talk about that game, but you can get Michigan right now at 10-1. And again, if you're someone who's considering betting Michigan on the money line against Ohio State, and you're going to get a 3 and change. I haven't looked at the money line today, but you can get them 10-1. If they beat Ohio State, they're playing, the other half of the Big Ten. That, obviously that shouldn't be that should be a game they should win. And even if they lose the Big Ten championship, the winner of Michigan Ohio State is definitely in. So 10-1 is good value on them. And then the key, if they beat Ohio State, is they get the 2. And if they get the 2 seed, they don't have to play Georgia in round 1. Now you could be holding an 8-1, 10-1 in a national championship game, and you can do whatever you want at that point. I told you before, I'm not a big hedger. Hedges are for gardeners, right? Not a big arbitrage guy. But, when you get something at 8-10-1 like that, if you put enough on it, there's good reason to basically make sure you don't lose any money. I mean, you can at least do that and still, obviously want the other side. Let's see here. Okay, that covers our pendings. We got 2 coming tonight. And quick horse racing story. Fax told a good one a while back about a race that was fixed, and he bet a fixed race, and the fixed horse won, and he lost because he got the wrong ticket at the window and didn't check it. So anyways, I have one of those 2003. So I'm not like a big horse guy. I know how to handicap horses, I know how to read a program. I know certain things that I like to see, certain trainers that I like. But I know one thing is I'm like, if I could bet only grass races, that's all I would bet, because you get a lot of class on the grass, right? So you get class on the grass, and you get really quality trainers on grass horses. I just think they're more horsemen than a lot of the dirt trainers, especially the dirt speed trainers, short sprinters. So I'm a turf guy. Arlington Million used to be the greatest turf race of the year. I mean, barring Breeders' Cup, right? So I love this. I was winning on this. This horse was just a great horse. It was twitchy, it was edgy, but Storming Home was the name of the horse. And Gary Stevens was always rode Storming Home, and it got in the Arlington Million. And I lived right up the road in Northeast Maryland from an OTB, where off track betting site where you can go ahead and that was it was almost like a neighborhood bar, right? You could go hang out there and you get you some bets in. The beers were cheap. It was a nice little spot, nice little dive OTB. So I ended up with, going down there and just, I was like, I love this horse. I'm just going to hammer it. I'm just going to hammer it in the win hole. Love it. Bet more than I normally do, and probably more than I should have, because I was really, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But how do you have a horse that crosses the finish line first? There are no fouls between the start gate and the finish line, and you lose. I did that. Covered that one. Storming Home, Suleimani was the eventual horse that was put up, and it was a really good turf horse as well. Storming Home busted for the lead, amazing closer. That's why I always like closers. That's why I like grass. That's why I like closers, turf. It's just everything about it I like. So Storming Home Gary Stevens just made a sick move in the lane. I mean, just a sick move. Pulls out, full body length in front. I'm out of my mind at the OTB. Full body length and clearing at the finish line. And if you've ever watched a race on TV or at the OTB or a track TV, basically the view you get, the camera freezes at the finish line, right? So you watch the order of finish go by, and then the next camera shot they go is a pan to the ride out, right? The cool off ride out lap, right? Where the jock's riding out the winner and they're patting it on the neck and, pumping the fist for the crowd if it's a big race. So they go to the pan out to the cool off, and I'm expecting to see Gary Stevens doing this. There's no jock. There's no jock on the back of the horse. I'm like, I just watched the horse cross the finish line with the jockey on its back, and now the jockey's gone. Gary Stevens gone. So they pan back. Gary Stevens is 15 yards past the finish line, laid out on the grass. His arms are like this around him. He's like barely moving. Track medics are running out there. I'm like, I just watched the horse win the race, and Gary Stevens was on its back, like rolling. So turns out that day they had a couple like objections. They had an extended card at Arlington. It's late in the season. It's in Chicago. It started getting dark. So apparently what in the end happened, somebody on the fan bleacher side of the track took a photographer took a picture, and because of the light, the flash activated. The flash hit the mirror that's used for the photo finish and reflected back in Storming Home's left eye. And you can YouTube this, by the way. Just YouTube Storming Home 2003 Arlington Million if you don't believe like how ridiculous this story is, and the fact that I got smacked on it too. The horse is past the finish line, bolts this way. Stevens tries to stay on. Horse bolts back. Boom. Stevens goes off. Hoof to the head from a horse behind. Gets trampled on the turf at Arlington, which is like a jungle. It's like 8 inches thick. I mean, he's prone, stretched out. So I'm like, well, I wanted Gary Stevens to be okay, right? But the horse was fine. And Gary Stevens sat up eventually. That was good. Why is there an inquiry? It happened after the finish of the race. Had to be 45. It's the longest inquiry I swear I've ever seen. PA man comes on. Storming Home will be disqualified to last for impeding the finish positions of second, third, and fourth. So basically, he crossed the finish line. Jockey goes off. Everybody checks. Well, the horse in fourth or fifth or whatever, the battle for the exotics, the horse hadn't crossed the finish line yet. So it corrupted the order of finish of the exotics. Won the Arlington Million, went off at 3.5 or 4-1. It was a decent price. It was like third choice in that race. That used to be the biggest turf race. I mean, besides the Breeder Cup. Like, you can correct me, of course, people, if I'm wrong, but I mean, that race used to be off the hook. So lost on storming home. No objection or foul between the start gate and the finish line. My horse crossed the finish line first, and I lost. Not quite as bad as the fixed horse story, but it's pretty close. I don't think I bet a horse for a year, by the way. I was salty dog. Let's talk some college football. That's why you guys are here, not to hear my cheesy horse racing stories. But the Arlington Million, that was a good one. Not for me, but let's talk Michigan, Ohio State here. This game has been on our radar. If you've been watching the Fox 10 from day one, kind of started talking about a look ahead to this spot. Obviously, it's going to play a big role in the national championship. It's going to play a big role in the playoff. Does the loser, let's just say the finals 27-24, does the loser get in? Regardless of who it is, does the loser get in, right? I kind of think they do, looking at the other candidates. I mean, there's a couple candidates out there, I guess, but the list is starting to get short with Tennessee just fell off the cliff, and now you're debating two lost teams. What if Clemson rolls North Carolina in the ACC championship and they're at 11 and 12 and 1, whatever they'll be, and they won the ACC? They're one-loss conference champion, doesn't get in. I mean, I know they bumped them up a little. I think I didn't see the last show, so somebody can probably correct me, but I think they're up to 7 or 6 or something along those lines now. So this Michigan-Ohio State game's got a lot of implications, right? Close game to both get in. My ratings had this number in a look-ahead spot, and they haven't changed much since I did. They do change every week a little bit, but I had the line at Ohio State in Columbus at -5 to 6 was my number for this game. So when the look-ahead popped at 8, I played it immediately, right? Just a value play. I see it at 5 to 6. The odds maker sees it at 8. I'm going to take the 8, right? So I take the 8. That goes to 7.5. Might even gone to tick to 7, 7.5, all last week. Then they play on Saturday. Illinois, Michigan wins by kicks a field goal at the end to win by 2 at home. Ohio State goes on the road to Maryland and wins by 13. Maryland might have scored some junk points at the end of that too, if I'm not mistaken, but they had 17 fourth quarter points. Maryland did. So what changed, right? So I look at the openers on Sunday. I'm sitting there waiting for the openers to pop. Ohio State pops as 10. I said 10. Excuse me. What changed between, okay, so somebody's going to say injuries, right? I think Michigan running back got hurt, banged up, got dinged up. Nobody knows the severity of it because they were playing Illinois. Harbaugh knew the scenario. Even if they'd have lost to Illinois, if they would have beat Ohio State this week coming up, they're in. So I don't know how severe. I've looked at all the injuries on it. I get it. Both teams are a little bit dinged up, right? It's that time of year. They're Big Ten football teams, and you're playing your rival in the last regular season week. Like, nobody's strolling in there rocking on all cylinders. I just didn't see anything that changed. Why would it go from, the look ahead closed at like 7.5, 7 going into these Saturday games, and coming out, they bumped it to 10. I just didn't get it. Excuse me. So I didn't buy the 10 because I already had 8, right? But I did use that in a play that I'll talk about in one of my plays. And it's still actually the line has come back. Like I said, I got it at 5 to 6. My ratings might be a little biased to Michigan, but anything above 7, I was going to play Michigan, just like I'd probably play Ohio State at anything 3, at 3. So it's numbers game. It's not, I don't care. I don't have any allegiance to either one of those teams. I'm trying to win. Every bet I make, I'm trying to win. So that's sort of that game. I do think the loser gets in if it's close. I think the only way the loser's out, especially with Tennessee with 2 losses now, TCU has Iowa State this week. So if they win that, they're on to the Big 12 championship, where I believe they have Kansas State. Parched. So that's going to be a great game. Hey, Fax Man. No, the Fax Man. There's no way the Fax Man's here live. He's got somebody. He's paid somebody to do this. It's either a family member, he's got somebody paid. He's probably down at the MGM right now firing missiles at him. If it is the real Fax Man, it's great to see you, sir. He's a legend. He absolutely blitzed it last night. I don't know if you guys watched it. You need to be watching his shows because I see he gets about 40 more viewers, 50, 100 more viewers, and 1,000 more views, whatever he gets. He gets a lot more than I do, and deservedly so. He ripped it up last night. So guys handing out money for free. I mean, guy could be getting making how much money doing it. Take advantage of it is what I'm trying to tell you. Fax Man, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll talk about a Thanksgiving special he's going to do on Thursday this week. So let's go on. The only other game I really wanted to talk about briefly, Oregon State's good, in Corvallis, tough place to play, rival. Game opened at, I think, plus or minus 4.5, and it went pretty quickly to down to 3, and that's where it's sitting right now. Oregon is -3. Oregon State's always been a good upset team at home late in the season. Tricky place to play. Really good home, in my opinion, really good home field advantage, and I'm sure they'll have that going there this Saturday. They can get some nasty weather. They're high 30s, I think I'm seeing for game time temp, and it doesn't look like any precipitation, but it can change there in a hurry. It's not going to be balmy, that's for sure. But I see a little value. My ratings have this line at Oregon -3 on a neutral, so I'm getting 3 in Corvallis. That's to me, that's I'll take the 3 there. I think there's a lot of value there. I actually got it at 4.5 in the opener, but 3, you're still live there. Obviously, you're on a push number, but so that's we're trying to keep it short and sweet. I actually had to cut up one deer before the show, and I've got to cut up another deer after the show. We got to get it in the freezer. We got to get Fax Man his sausage. We got to get the spicy sausage, the maple sausage. He's going to like that. So we got to get that carried up to him up north. Other than that, I mean, nobody's busting in the questions, asking me my ratings, asking me my thoughts on any games. I talked about 2 of them that I think are pretty big this week. If there's anything else strikes anybody, obviously we gave out the 3-team 10-point teas at the top of the show. Ohio +3, San Jose State -3, and UTSA -6.5. And Ohio you can probably still get down on that at 7:03. So, usually they don't kick right at 7. I think that was scheduled for a 7 o'clock kick. So let's get on to what you came here for, right? You didn't come here to hear about my storming home, Arlington Million. How can you have a horse that there's no objection from the start gate to the finish line, crosses the finish line first, and you get DQ'd? 2003 Arlington Million. YouTube it. I promised you. It's to Chariots of Fire music. And anybody who watches this is going to say, how is Gary Stevens alive? And he acted in a movie after that. Well, he had to act in movies after that. And I mean, I don't even know how the guy lived through it. Anyways, you didn't come here for that. We talked about the 2 of the bigger games. I think Michigan to me was value at anything better than 7. I'm happy I got the 8. There's no 8s out there now. You can get a 10-1 on a future on them, and that is I got 8-1 a while back. So, that's a good value. Take that 10-1. Take a look at that. If you think they can beat Ohio State, you don't play don't play the Michigan money line in this game. Play it 10-1 to win the national title. Because if they beat Ohio State, they're 2 in the country. They have a relatively soft title opponent, and then they won't have to play Georgia in round 1. If they beat Ohio State, they're going to go to 2.5-1. So you could hold 10-1. Again, if you think Ohio State's going to maul, and Ohio State might win 44-0. I don't have Sunday's paper, right? But my numbers say it should be a competitive game, should be a nip and tuck game. If it is that, and they pull off the win, you have a 10-1 that's easily going to pop it plus 250 on Sunday for the future for the Natty. So let's get down to what you came here for. My plays. I gave you the first one, the 3-team 10-point teas. We also did this week 3-team 7-point teas. So I did get some feedback. I didn't do a mailbag today, but some of the people that got in touch with me were like, "Hey, Fox does these teasers. Do you mind?" Yeah. If I like a game, I'm going to like it 7 or 10 points more pretty much every time. I just I don't play a ton of them, but I do, I do dabble here and there. Just as a little candy, a little cherry on top, right? So I did Ole Miss plus 4.5. Did UNC in a pick, and these are all obviously the rivalry games. Ole Miss is Thanksgiving. I might be stealing some Thanksgiving thunder, but Fox or JJ can obviously take Mississippi State if they see Mississippi State. That's fine. We're down on Ole Miss plus 4.5 that's on Thanksgiving Day. UNC in a pick We'd get 7 down off that to get them to a pick. And I got Michigan at plus 17. Again, if you question the ticket, send Fax a dime. I'll send him the screenshot. He can spend the dime at the steakhouse. All right. But regardless of what I got at, who cares? Right now, you can get it at 14.5 on a 7-point tease, right? It's sitting at 7.5 when I check pre-show. So Ole Miss plus 4.5, UNC in a pick, and Michigan at 14.5 current. So that's my 3-team 7-point tease. We gave you the 3-team 10-point tease, and I'm also going to give you over 43.5 in Pitt, Miami. So this one, I actually, I always like to ask guys that I respect opinions on stuff, and it's interesting to hear people's thoughts on this game. But one of the numbers, and we saw it kind of play out in Western Kentucky, Auburn, when we won last week with a total play. 16 of the 22 games that Pitt and Miami have played combined, they've each played 11 games. 16 of their 22 games have gone 44 or over. So obviously that's, that you're getting some, numbers wise, you're not doing wrong there. So I think what people will come back with is some injury issues, right? I do check injuries. I don't just blindly, obviously that's part, yes, I do an algorithm. Yes, it produces lines before the odds maker does. So yes, I'm looking at for certain numbers in certain games before they're posted, but I also take the time before I delve, start pressing buttons on a sports betting account. I just certainly check weather and injury weather in the case of totals and injuries. This game obviously being played in Miami. I was about to say the Orange Bowl. Facts, you'd love that, right? That place was awesome, the Orange Bowl. So whatever the Miami Stadium, they change the names every 6 weeks on these stadiums. Might as well just call it the Orange Bowl forever. They'd be lucky to be called that, as good as that place was. Over 43.5, Pitt, Miami. So Miami, I think it's Van Dyke, the quarterback. He's been out for a game or two with a shoulder, questionable. But they've been playing without him. They've been posting numbers without him. They've got a backup. I want to say, again, I'm not your guy if you want every player's name. Okay, what I know is the data, right? And they have a backup quarterback who they have one mobile guy. It looks like one mobile guy and one guy that throws it a little bit more. But the mobile guy, I think, is second or third in the team in rushing. So if he's in there, that I always like scenarios like that, right? Because bettors tend to put too much emphasis on a quarterback, especially at the college level, quarterback being out. I look at other things where I tend to put, losing 3 of your 5 starting offensive linemen is probably, way more devastating. But the general betting public isn't going to check injuries on an offensive line. They'll see the ticker on ESPN and then all the quarterbacks out. Well, we got to fade that. It's backup quarterback. I just think there's too much. The books know that. They've already adjusted the number for it. The bettors tend to come in, drive the number even better. So backup quarterbacks, what I look at is I try to look at what's this guy done. If he doesn't have any record, at the college level, I'll try to dig into his high school stuff. What did the kid do? He threw for 20,000 yards in high school. I'm pretty sure he knows how to throw a football. You know what I mean? It's, bright lights might get him, but Miami should be fine there. If they bring in, I think it's Brown. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong. The other backups got experience as well. So there's no fall off there. And I think Pitt had a couple of injuries too, but it wasn't everything I looked at was either non-significant data or the replacement, the next in line, next man up is not a big fall off. So, to me, that total should be a little bit higher than that, maybe somewhere in the 47.5, 48 range. I like over 43.5 Pitt, Miami. So that's other than that. Yeah, facts. I love the Orange Bowl, man. So many good memories. Saw Miami, Florida State game there. That was sick. It's a great place. A lot of NFL history. Only undefeated team came out of the Orange Bowl. So that'll wrap it up. What are we at? 24 minutes. I told my wife 20 minutes. She's got to make a sweet potato souffle or sweet potato casserole. So my wife and daughter are going down to North Carolina for the holiday. To her sisters. My son and I've got a bunch of cousins and family up here. They're in the woods and hunting, and we're cooking a huge 50-course meal up the road. So me and my son will go up there, and I messaged my uncle and I said, what do you want me to bring? What can we bring? You want me to cook a turkey? What do you want me to do? He said, I only want one thing, and that's Mrs. Greyfox's sweet potato souffle. Sweet potato, he calls it sweet potato casserole. Facts, I will see you. I'm getting ready to go into that right now. I'm going to give the updated schedule. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining and being the only chat master out there. I appreciate you, Facts. So sweet potato casserole. She's got to make that tonight. I've got to work up some more deer meat and get it in the freezer. So we have a busy night. I limited it to 25 minutes. JJ's probably happy with that. Upcoming schedule. So here's what we're going to do. Faxman normally does Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we got a holiday on Thursday. Obviously a big football day in America. I think we're doing a little 3-way junction with me, the Faxman, and JJ. Faxman, I think when I talked to him, he said he's got some soccer for you. He's got some college basketball nuggets for you on Thursday. And JJ obviously will dice up the NFL like a fine chef with cutlery. And then I've already given out a 7-point tease on Ole Miss at +4.5. But we'll talk Ole Miss, but we'll also talk some other stuff, right? We'll talk some other games. Hopefully the chat will be more lively with Fax there. He'll bring his viewership, and there'll be more than just my kids watching, which is probably who's watching right now on this thing. So jumped in a little early. I got stuff I have to get done. I appreciate y'all, everybody that was here. I appreciate Faxman, the legend, stopping through. We gave you 3 free plays. We haven't lost you any money yet, so you can't be mad at us yet. If you're fading us, you're not doing any good there either. So let's have a good Thanksgiving, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy the time with your family. Everybody always jokes of stress the holidays. If it's stressful, then just don't go. But if you do go, enjoy it, right? Because those moments are really what matters. Family first, always. So we will see you the next show. So Fax will do one Wednesday, I'm guessing. Tomorrow. That's his normal slot, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then, but he'll bump to Thursday, and we'll do a Fax JJ Ray show. Thursday, that's scheduled for 11:30. So Thanksgiving, it's a great way. Oh, tell your family I got a Zoom call from work. I gotta go. So no show Wednesday, Fax. Is that what you're telling me? I think Fax is saying no show Wednesday. We're doing Thursday. So perfect. If that's the case, I hope that's what he's telling me. So let's do that. Let's know that no matter what, Thursday only, off Wednesday. That's what I'm talking about, Fax. Clean it up. Somebody's communicating with me on this thing. Geez, imagine what we could do. So Thursday, 11:30, Thanksgiving special. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell them it's a Zoom call if they won't let you out of the room. Tell them whatever you got to tell them, but bring the heat Thursday. It's going to be a good one, trust me. Faxman, we'll see you Thursday. Run Pure Bets viewers, we will see you Thursday from Montgomery County, Virginia, the home of the ACC champion Virginia Tech Hokie men's basketball team. Have a great evening.